What's up, Revolt Nation? We're back with day 2 of the 2021 Revolt Summit, presented by AT&T. You know how much Revolt loves a celebration, but we also love to keep you educated, informed, and in tune. Let's get into more captivating panels with topics that take you to the heartbeat of our culture. Whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, production doesn't start and stop with action and cut. Find out what it takes to own your story from ideation to ratings win. Content is king, but rights reign. Owning Our Narrative, sponsored by AT&T.
So today's panel that we are doing for you all, I'm really excited about it. It's called Owning Your Own Narrative. How many content creators do we have in the room? People who create content on IG, writers, movie directors, soon-to-be actors who have their own dream. Okay, this is great. What's the key? The key is ownership. The key is making sure that whatever you do and your blessed talent, you get paid off of. So we are gonna bring some folks up to you that can help you explain that. First and foremost, Two Distant Strangers. Anybody see that? Did anybody see that short? Joey Badass is badass, right? What he has decided to do is change the game. I can be creative, I can be a rapper, I can be an actor, but I'm gonna own everything, and you can't tell me what lane I can live in. I love people like that. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joey Badass! And then coming up on the stage, joining us, Tavio Samuels. Before he walks out, I want to explain that why we are here today is because of Revolt, correct? We all came together because we've been to this summit, we know what they do, and how, in fact, and I'm so impressed, like I'm truly impressed by how Diddy has changed the narrative with Revolt. And I think a big part of that has a lot to do with Tavio Samuels and them being committed to making sure their programming is truly about Black and brown people. It's not just, we're not gonna entertain you, but we're gonna educate you as well. Tavio Samuels is the CEO. He has been on Forbes 40 Under 40. He's he's everything. He's all of that. CEO of Revolt, Tavio Samuels. Give it up for him, guys.
What's good?
I love you guys for coming here. I appreciate it. So, again, this is about owning your own narrative. I think you guys really need to take your pens and pads out. You have to write about, or your phone. Did you take your notes? Because everyone wants to be in front of the camera or even behind the scenes, right? It doesn't matter. But the reality is a lot of times Black and brown folks don't know how to own the narrative. You need to own every single thing so that no one can tell you, you are my master, I belong to you. You can bolt whenever you need to. These gentlemen in front of me encompass all the things in which I believe we should be talking about. Joey, I have to start with you. Thank you for being here. How do you feel?
Feel good. Thank you for having me. You know, feel good to be in Atlanta.
It feels good to be in Atlanta? You like Atlanta?
Hospitality is always good. It's always great.
Datavio, you grew up in Colorado. We talked about that. How do you feel about Atlanta? Do you like Atlanta?
Oh, I love Atlanta. So, you know, the way we look at Atlanta, I've said that several times this weekend, which is we see Atlanta as the mecca and the hub for the culture. And so when we think about Atlanta, we think about our home. Like, we think about everything that we want to do that touches the people, production, marketing, events. We're trying to anchor it here in Atlanta because we believe in the people, we believe in the culture, and we believe what Atlanta is building and doing for the world.
That's beautiful, right? Give it up. I've lived here, and I know what you're saying is true. So were you guys very specific in choosing? Because the summit has been other places, right? LA. Talk to me about specifically making sure you touch base here.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things about Atlanta. First of all, I think the people in Atlanta are special. So if you've done events or you've done things where, again, you get to touch the people in New York or LA, there's nothing like when you come to Atlanta. I believe that the people here are gracious, they are humble, they are hungry, and like you want to deposit and feed back into those folks. Also, I believe that Atlanta is an underserved market. So while so many of us are here, and while, you know, our celebrities here and so much of our music comes out of it. Most like companies aren't coming here. Media companies aren't building here. And so I feel like the market is underserved. And so we want to come in and fill that void. And even bigger, you know, the way that I want to say it is, Revolt wakes up every day trying to create the world's largest, most powerful Black-owned media company. And we believe that there's no better place to build as the hub than in Atlanta.
I love that, right? It's good to know. Joey, how do you feel about Atlanta when you're here and you're performing? Yeah, how do you feel about Atlanta?
I love it here. You know what I mean? To me, Atlanta is really similar to New York, just in the way where, you know, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, you come as you are. It's like people meet you with this, I don't want to say everybody's a celebrity, but it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, you Joey Word, that's good. Like, you know what I mean? That's good. You got good things going for yourself. You know, keep it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's love, though. I love that. You know what I mean? It keeps you grounded, and it keeps you, you know, keeps you focused. I always feel super inspired when I come out here, so I love it.
It's cool that you were here. It's cool that you were here. Atlanta people don't be tripping off of famous, but you famous, and we cool, and it's just cool. I'm just going back to what you just said. Talk to me about owning your own narrative. When I say that, what does that mean to you, Joey?
To me, it means, you know, taking ownership of whatever career path you wish to embark on. You know what I'm saying? Taking, I don't want to say, you know, taking full control, because I think a part of success and a part of excelling at life is knowing when to surrender. You know what I'm saying? And not to people, but more to like the universal flow, or to God, or to like, you know, just the basic functionality of certain events. You know what I mean? So, you know, owning the narrative to me is really important. Like, I've always been somebody who has, like, you know, I'm hands-on with everything that I do.
I'm looking up some information on you, and someone asked you about, do you ever think about your future? And you said you look back on Kanye and Jay-Z old videos, and y'all can relate to this. Kanye and Jay-Z old videos, I don't think either one of them thought they would be where they are in this moment.
Well, right. Oh,
I want Kanye's confidence. I want to be, I want somebody to love me like Kanye loved Kanye. Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say that they didn't know what it was gonna be, especially Kanye, you know, but there's no way to know exactly what lies ahead. You know what I mean? There's still an element of the unknown. And once you kind of lean into that and accept that, you know, it goes back to surrendering that you're on the right path, submitting to that idea. You know what I mean? It goes hand in hand with prayer and affirmation every day. You know what I mean? And programming your subconscious the right way.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm impressed by, and I want to take a moment to bless you Black men, because oftentimes you don't get the love that you deserve. And when I see you here and I see the example of these two Black men out here loving and giving back and being respectful and trying to do what the media and the world says they can't, it's just such a privilege, is it not? Right? Such a privilege. So Joey, thank you for that. Detavio, you, to me, you know, they call it a Renaissance man, where you have different interests, you love different things, but you're committed to fighting for the culture. You get the job as CEO of Revolt in March. Congratulations, give it up, right? Because it has not been that long.
Yeah.
And then people are writing out how great you are and what you're doing, and you talk about the pivot, what you've been through and why you specifically came here. You had a mission for the Black and brown culture. Talk about owning your own narrative. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. At Revolt, when we think about owning our narrative, we start with this notion of control. Who's controlling the story? So two pieces. It's gonna be, because who controls the story means through whose lens we get to see things and through whose gaze we get to understand things. And the problem that we have is that right now in the media landscape, billions of dollars flooding into storytelling. Black-owned media only gets 1% of those dollars. What that means is the majority of stories that are being told about our culture are being greenlit by people who don't look like us, don't come from the places we come from. It's not authentic to them. And so they're gonna miss a lot of things, right? Because think about the double click you you have to do to explain to somebody that you're a Kappa or an Alpha, or what that might mean, right? When you get to pitch that to people who look like, you don't have to do the double click. They understand the story before you even say it. So anyways, the quote that I love that we use all the time is it's an African proverb, and it says, until the lion learns to tell his own history, the story of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. And so the problem is the lion is actually more powerful than the hunter, but the lion never held the pen. And so at Revolt, we trying to put the pen in the hands of the lion. We trying to make sure that people see through the lens and the gaze of the lion. And for us, that means controlling our own narrative. Last quote I'll give you is, Plato says, those who tell stories rule society. If we ain't telling our story, we can't rule. So we trying to put all that storytelling back into the culture.
How do we revere the doers and the dreamers? Thank the makers, creators, and shapers of not just today, but tomorrow. Lift up leaders, guardians, legends. How do we honor champions of voices who need to be heard? How do we hail the brave, the bold, and the heroic? We celebrate their power, their passion, and their dreams by joining them. Because when we dream in black, we dream as one.
What would you tell the people who are here right now trying to figure out, how do I take all of this talent that I have, make it, one, profitable, two, streamline it so I don't feel like I'm going crazy in my head with all these different ideas in the middle of the night, and three, execute that process?
Well, I would say you gotta know what your focus is. You know, a lot of us have many talents, but we gotta understand what is the priority. What is the talent that could catapult the other talents? Like for me, when you know, I've been making music my whole life, right? I was a theater student in high school, but you know, I've always been in love with music. Even though I went to high school for theater, I met, you know, everybody who was in like my musical collective. It was like this music thing couldn't leave. So I decided, you know what? Let me put my focus into music, and later down on the line, I will leverage my success as a musician, as an artist, to get back into acting. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to prioritize what talent I wanted to chase first, you know what I mean? So my advice to anybody out there with multiple talents and everything, you know, kind of compartmentalize your thoughts real quick. Ask yourself, which one can you pursue now that's gonna bring you, you know, the quicker success? And then you build off of that, you piggyback off of that. Because once you got your foot in the door, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I agree literally with 1,000% of everything he just said. So I'll put it into three buckets for you. So the first one is the bucket that you created, which is we need to be operating and moving in a space where our natural gifts and talents allow us to be dangerous. So many of us aren't even deployed in that way, first and foremost. So that's job one. Job two is what Joey just talked about, the job of prioritization. And so I was just talking to someone earlier today, and I was saying, look, and it's the same as your rabbit analogy, if you water all plants, all of them gonna die. You might have 10 ideas. If you try to put into all 10 of those ideas at one time, all 10 of them are gonna die. You have to be thinking about priorities. Which one comes first? If I get this one done, will it help me unlock the funds or unlock the capital, unlock the relationships to do the other 9? The third one was synergies, right? So many people are trying to build companies that are completely disconnected and not linked in any way. And so we wanna make sure that when we are building, trying to build not 1, but 2, 3, 4, 5 things, that there are synergies. You need to feel like, what I want to say is that the energy that I pour, 100% of the energy that I pour into this company is going to also give me a 30% lift in this company and a 20% lift in this company. If you look at, for example, Sean Combs, who has built an amazing lifestyle company, like we have everything from the liquor that you drink to the content that you watch. It's all about the lifestyle. It's all synergetic. It's all connected. And so I would just say the last one is do your best not to be working on 10 disparate ideas. Find those synergies so that you can be efficient in the work that you're doing.
how important is your circle, Joey?
Your circle is very important. However, I don't think that you should be fully focused on only hanging out with people who are smarter than you, because we all have a duty here. We all have a responsibility. I forgot who it was that I was watching, but they had an interesting concept on this, and it was basically like the 33% rule. 33% of the time, you should be hanging out with people who are smarter than you. The other 33%, you should be hanging out with people who are on your level. And the last 33%, you should be hanging out with people that you're smarter than. This way, you know, you're evenly distributing, you know, your talents. You're learning and you're educating at the same time. And not only are you learning and educating, but for the group in the middle, you guys get to like kind of push each other. You know what I'm saying? You get to challenge each other. So, yeah, you know, I see people talk about that all the time. Like, don't get too hung up on, oh, I got to hang out with people who's smarter than me. Nah, you know, you should definitely seek, you know, people that you can learn from, but you also, you know, what are you really worth if you can't teach anybody anything?
You got to teach everybody all the time. You ain't lying. I appreciate that. What are you really worth? So then my old hood ass is like, well, what about, does that mean I hang out with the street chick so she can teach me how to make this hustle money? What does that mean? Do I hang out with the street chick so I can learn how to make this money?
Hell yeah, hang out with street chicks. You know why? Because they gonna keep you up on your toes. You know what I'm saying? We need to be versatile. You know what I'm saying? We need to have every aspect, every element. You should never deprive yourself. The hood needs you, especially if you're fortunate enough to make it out the door. The hood needs you.
I love that.
Next up, a panel discussion featuring none other than the Breakfast Club's DJ Envy and a few money-savvy entrepreneurs who will vividly break down how to recycle your black dollars and keep them in our community significantly longer. We can build together. The Power of the Black Dollar, sponsored by Target.
How you guys doing? Y'all all right?
Hello.
Yes, sir. All right, well, let's get this panel discussion started. So this is all about the power of the black dollar, right? We look at these other communities, whether it's the Jewish community, the Asian community, their money stays in their community a lot longer. So you know what that means. So when you go to their shop, you buy something in their community, they keep that dollar, then that dollar gets recycled to another business, then another business, then another business, 10 to 20 more times than our dollar, and we're trying to figure out how we can change that. So I want to talk about the money in the black community. Why is it so important to keep the money in the black community? Start with you, Jada.
I feel like we are our biggest support system. Also, we hurt each other the most. So I feel like it's so important to keep it in the family for real, because it's so many people out here like who are helping each other get to the top, but it's more important when you're black and you're helping another black business or another black company, because it's like, why not keep it in the family? Why do we keep making these other ethnicities rich when we really the ones with the mindset? We're the culture. Like they take our stuff and run with it. So it's like, it's important to keep the money in the family. That's how I feel.
Melissa?
From my perspective, it's just like at the end of the day, we talk about wanting to keep our family safe. You want to make sure you're protecting that black man. You want to protect that black little girl or that black boy. The only way you can truly do that is through ownership, by owning your community, by understanding that you have control over your community. So I'm Detroit, and I was really fortunate to grow up in that environment because, you know, I grew up with a black mayor, a black police chief, a black everything. So like I experienced black excellence because the city was by and large owned by black people. Today, that city is changing in a lot of ways, and people are saying like, oh, it's gentrification. Well, the reality is Detroit has been on sale for the last 20 years, and black people haven't necessarily invested in it. And now we're seeing that ownership leave our community, and people feel less safe. So if we have ownership in our communities, in our neighborhoods, then we can have peace of mind, then we can have mental health, then we can support our black-owned businesses without necessarily having to try to. Like, I don't want to have to find the app to find the 2 black restaurants in a very black city. I want all the restaurants to be black because this is, again, it's literally an 80% black city. There's no reason that I should have to find the onesie-twosie businesses to support. So the more we support each other, the more we will build our communities and the more we will have safety and peace of mind.
The question is the same to you. Money back in our community. What's your thoughts?
We gotta stop seeing money as consumption and as capital. When something is capital, it's something that you use to keep building. You go buy a cow, not just cut it up and eat it. You buy a cow to get the milk, and you sell the milk to make more money to buy another cow. But we just keep consuming money in our community. And so, yeah, we do need to buy black, but we also need to invest black. You know what I'm saying? And invest in these young black entrepreneurs and these businesses so that this money can continue to grow and we can take care of ourselves and own our community. We always got complaints about how they don't care about us, they don't fix this, our community messed up. If we're not investing in ourselves, we're not gonna be able to have different communities.
I want to talk about some of the things that didn't go right in your business that maybe somebody else that's trying to start their own line or their own bundle line that says, you know what, I went through the same thing. How did you overcome some of those obstacles?
So actually just recently, I released my clothing brand, my updated clothing brand on my birthday, September 25th, and my collection sold out. So, you know, everybody getting their orders, everybody, you know, getting their packages, posting, you know, everybody, it's a thing now on TikTok to do like an unboxing video. Mm-hmm. So I was getting a lot of feedback from my customers and they're like, okay, the pants are too short. So I was thinking, I'm like, dang, I made my clothing brand based around me. Like I'm sending samples back, my size, my height. So I was getting a lot of customer feedback. And one girl, she like kind of went viral. And she was like, who's supposed to wear these? These are just for Jada gotta be, because they too short. So I took all that feedback and my new release that I'm doing soon, I made sure like everything they said from good to bad, I put that into my brand. And I'm like, oh, customers, at the end of the day, they're always right. It's all about how you market yourself. You could turn a follower into $1.
Hopefully you got a lot of knowledge about the black dollar and black power. And I appreciate you guys for checking in, all right? Now, I'm about to go look at some real estate in Atlanta, so that's where I'm off to now. So while you're here, make the best use of your time. I'm DJ Envy. Thank you, guys.
Close.
The dialogue of police brutality against the Black community has been a relevant conversation in every Black home across America, now more than ever before. But it's time to take the conversation out of our home. This next panel features a robust, multi-layered discussion on the safety crisis in Black communities across the country. High-profile community activists take the same stage as 3 Black police officers. It's time for a family conversation. Revolt Black News, Black Safety First.
What's going on, Revolt Summit? Day 3 is here. How y'all feeling today?
Yeah, we got some beautiful folk in the crowd today. A lot of brilliance. I see a lot of Black excellence out there. How y'all doing today? You good? You feeling good on this side? Absolutely. Glad to see you. Paige, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling incredible. How about you?
I feel stupendous. It has been an incredible 3 days. So much information I have received. I feel all the wiser for being here, for being part of this experience. It's been beautiful. Have y'all had a good time this past 3 days? Soaking it all in, so much knowledge, so much wisdom.
Yeah.
Let's bring out our next moderator. She is an attorney, journalist, and producer, the incomparable Eboni K. Williams. Make some noise.
Make some noise.
What's up, Atlanta? Oh, we're gonna do that one more time. What's up, Atlanta? Okay, people looking snazzy, I appreciate it. Listen, y'all, this is gonna be a family conversation. I wanna just level set here. It's a lot of dope, cool, amazing energy as it relates to the culture, but this one's gonna hit home a little different, all right? So y'all know me from Revolt Black News. We bring you the headlines that relate to the culture and inform the people with what they need to know by the people every Thursday. Shout out to Revolt Black News. And what you know about Revolt Black News, y'all, is that we are so committed and so intentional with the way we talk about these issues, particularly as it relates to our community, our children, and our well-being as Black folks. Y'all hear me? People are gonna be very vulnerable in this conversation, so don't be afraid to ask what's on your heart and mind. And we have an incredible panel that's gonna share their expert and personal lived experiences as it relates to gun violence and the Black community. We ready? All right. All right, so with that, I'm gonna introduce this incredible panel who is joining me. First up, y'all know this brother. He's just invaluable to the culture. He's a rapper, he's a record producer, he's also an activist. Brother David Banner, who says he's tired of the Black community being addicted to white approval. Welcome to the stage, David Banner. All right, next up, this gentleman's a mentor of mine personally. He's a man who specializes in civil rights and personal injury cases. Y'all see him everywhere. They might even call him Black America's what? Attorney General. Welcome to the stage, author of Open Season, attorney Benjamin Crump. Woo. Next up, community activist. He's also founder of Save Ourselves. He's a civil rights activist and organizer, Brother Marcus Coleman. Welcome to the stage, Marcus. Next up, this is a Georgia mother. She founded a homicide support group called Grieve after her beloved son, Michael Maddox, was murdered. Y'all, please welcome with love, Sister Betty Maddox. Sister Maddox not playing with the fashion game. We appreciate you, Sister Maddox, looking gorgeous. All right, now next up joining us, he's a former Atlanta police officer, and he's made it his mission to mend the very fractured relationship between the Black American community and cops. He even formed the group Clippers and Cops. Y'all welcome Brother Tyrone Dennis. All right, now we have an entrepreneur who's also a former police officer and author of Beaten Black and Blue, Being a Black Cop in America Under Siege, Mr. Brandon Tatum. All right, and last but never least, he's a civil rights attorney who specializes in something called restorative justice, and we're gonna talk about exactly what that is in this conversation. He currently is representing Gangster Disciples leader, Larry Hoover, on his case seeking release from prison right now. Welcome, attorney Justin Moore. All right, now we have a robust and diverse panelist here of incredible experts and people that know what they're talking about on the issues. But to level set this important, vulnerable, and very transparent conversation, y'all take a look at this.
Shirley Crawley was on her way to the grocery store when she was shot and killed by stray bullets. Top of Boone Group, the 20-year-old was found. 18-year-old Ronnie Ware died from a shooting in Fraser at a graduation party. And WCS family died from a gun down.
Search continues tonight for the shooter. If you have any information,
a woman that would do anything for anybody.
Family and friends are devastated. Police are devastated. This should have never happened.
I got a phone call around 11 o'clock p.m. and the person on the phone, which was my son's girlfriend, said that Justin had been shot.
I said, "Can you tell me what's going on?" And he said, "I don't have a lot of information for you, but I can let you know that your son didn't make it."
It was a hard, frantic knock that came at my door on that day. And I didn't believe the young guy who was telling me my daughter had been shot in the head.
3 young black men showed up with masks on and hoodies and assassinated my son. There were 40 bullets fired. 17 of them hit my son.
The people laid in wait for him to get out of the car, and they killed him.
Next time I saw Josh was in a funeral home. His right eye was hanging out of his eye. He had bruises on his face. I could see the gun wound.
Say Black Lives Matter. You killed your own. Killed your own this time. You killed my baby because she crossed the barrier and made a U-turn. You killed a child. She ain't do nothing to nobody.
These are members of the community shooting each other.
It really felt like a huge betrayal because I spend day and night out there trying to protect young black men.
You are most likely to have a crime committed against you by someone who knows you.
Satana DeBerry, District Attorney of Durham County, North Carolina, relies on empirical data to understand crime in her community.
It's a small number of people in any community who are responsible for the most gun violence.
Data maps show how closely gun violence tracks with historic socioeconomic trends.
And the reason we see that is not because it is a black thing. We see it because we live in a system that consistently creates inequality amongst black and poor communities.
And what does that mean for grieving families seeking justice?
There is no justice in this system. All that we can do is hold people accountable for what they do. And accountability is not always the highest punishment. And families do understand that. Sometimes they don't like it. Even when they don't agree, they do understand it.
We did receive justice, but it doesn't change what took place because it's consistently happening.
And artist Sidney Brody keeps adding more names to his Durham Memorial quilt, now 80 feet long with over 900 names of the dead.
I can't believe I'm still doing it. You can't help but wonder sometimes, is it futile?
I miss his hugs and I miss his talks.
Someone was there with my baby when he took his last breath.
There's not a day that I don't cry.
I will always be grateful that someone was with him.
First and foremost, I know that was incredibly difficult for many of us to watch. I'm sure very personally triggering. So I want to just take a moment to honor Mother Maddox and all of the grieving parents, daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, cousins, and children of those we have lost.
Have no moral standing to talk about no snitching when they got a damn flag that's desecrated with a cold blue line on it. For those of you that do not know, the code blue line of snitching, or the code blue line of silence, excuse me, is their form of don't snitch. So before you come and tell the communities not to snitch, you need to work on it behind your own closed doors, and you literally got a flag that represents it. We got to be real with our verbiage.
Yeah.
If we're going to have community engagement, last solution, a residence clause. We know that out of the academy, many rookies get put into the inner city areas. Well, for at least 6 months, Brother Banner, at least 6 months straight out of the academy, you should work, eat, sleep, and everything else in the communities that you are supposed to serve and protect. And I promise you, last thing, 10 seconds, last thing, 10 seconds, last thing, 10 seconds. We have I believe they're in every state, POST, Peace Officer Standards and Training. This is the agency that governs every particular police officer, even the Georgia State Patrol, and they have them in various states. If we don't work with the directors of POST to tweak and change what enables an officer to be certified, then shame on us. Attack the ink, right the wrongs, organize,
Brandon, we got to go.
I just want to correct the flag. It's for fallen officers, officers who pass away. That's what the blue line and the flag is.
Okay, I got you. I respect that. Thank you.
It's got multiple reasons and purposes then.
Gentlemen,
No, it don't.
please respect the format of the panel. Please,
I'm a cop.
I'm begging you. Thank you. Attorney Crump, solution.
Thank you, Eboni, for your brilliance in leading this very diverse panel.
Woo! I need a V8.
I talk often, so I endeavor to try to listen more than I talk today, and I learned a lot from everybody. And so it really, I believe, is about the children. I thought it was profound what Brother Banner said about look at your children as God.
That's right.
You see, it has been said that democracy is like two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. Don't take a rocket scientist to know how that vote gonna go. But liberty is making sure that that lamb is well armed to protest that vote. You see, the system is the wolves, and our young people are the lambs. They are waiting to attack and grab up and eat our children. So we must collectively, I believe this is the solution, we must collectively make sure that our children are more intelligent than those who will seek to oppress them. King said the coward will ask the question, is it safe? He said expediency will ask the question, is it politically correct? He said, oh, vanity will come along and ask the question, is it popular? But then he said conscience. Conscience comes along and asks the question, is it right? And he concluded, there comes a time when one must take a position that's neither popular nor politically correct or not even safe. But there comes a time when one conscience tells them they must take a position because it is the right thing to do. I submit to you, Revolt, every day it is the right thing to do to stand up for our children, to speak up for our children, and to fight for our children's future until hell freezes over. And then we got to be ready to fight on the ice, because that's how much our children have to see in us that we believe in their future. It could be no question to our children that their Black lives matter every day. That is the solution, I believe.
Amen. Closing our dots. Final words from David Banner.
I want to correct something real quick. With the 10,000 fearless, crime dropped to levels that they hadn't seen in nearly a decade. Camden, New York was one of the places, New Jersey, excuse me, yep. New Jersey
This I'm glad you're saying.
was successful in disbanding the police force and re-envisioning
a whole
it.
new one.
And what they did was, and they don't talk about this, is that's where the 2/3 drop in murders were, and it was a 50% drop in crime overall. The Republicans and the Democrats have punked us into at least considering that. So this is what I'll say, really quick. And I'm not trying to trivialize this, but watch this. Don't you agree that Black people put their money in places where they think importance is, right? Wherever we spend our money with Black folk, like I don't really worry about how many followers I have on Instagram and on Facebook. I care about how many people who swipe their card. Because if Black people swipe their card with you, they trust you and they're going to follow you because they want to know where their money went. So watch this. We were just talking about in silence, the average neighborhood, we say about 200 to 300 people, right? Let's say if we really value our children and we value our safety. Watch this. Like she said, we got to be real. These kids want the bag. Everybody wants the bag. So since we know that, we got to approach it like this. Watch this. 300 people. $100 a month. Now, we go to games, we buy music, we smoke weed, we do whatever we want to. I'm asking for $100 from each person that lives in, you're right, there probably won't be a kumbaya moment, but let's just say, for now, because I agree with you, I think some of them need to die, to be honest with you, because some of our people are the problem, and more of the problem than some of them white folks, I believe. But 300 people times $100. Guess how much that is? It's $30,000 for 1 month. Watch this. Times 12. That's $360,000. You can't pay some strong Black men to police your neighborhood. Right. You can't get some consistency in the high school by paying, not begging or guilting somebody or telling them they're going to hell or heaven. Pay them to police our community. take care of people, pay these children. I spoke at to some black lawyers who were graduating from law school, and I told them I failed you. And they said, why? I said, because I can't afford to hire you. Black people are the only people that send their brightest and their best to white colleges and white people. We talk about the football players and the black basketball players for dating white women, where you sent them to white colleges and made them be around all white people anyway. The problem is that most black people want to be white in the first place and won't admit it. They don't want to stay around black people when they get their money. They don't want to go to HBCUs. I don't think HBCUs should be a choice. I think that should be the only option that you have, unless you're trying to go and get something and bring it back to the community. So what I'm saying is $360,000 in your community by each person donating $100 a month, I don't think that's asking a lot. And just to show you that I don't like the system, but to show you that I do think about it, imagine if in every cop car there was somebody from that community. One of the reasons why for both black and white cops it's easy to kill a black kid in that community, because your kids don't have to live with those kids. Shoot a kid that you live in their community. Somebody gonna see your kids in high school, in elementary, or somebody gonna come to your house. Yeah. If there was somebody that lived in that community, like back in the day, I remember when I was smaller, they used to have Officer Friendly. Officer Friendly ain't so fucking friendly no more. Yeah. But what if there was somebody in each cop car, and if there ain't somebody from that community in that cop car, then that cop car don't need to be in our community. I bet you a lot of stuff would change just by simply doing that.
That sounds an awful lot, actually, like the residency requirement that was spoken about earlier. And I like that idea a lot. I'd actually never heard that one. I learned a lot today. Raise your hand if you learned something today. All right. You know what? I was a little nervous, but that tells me we had success here today. Take something you learned today, apply it, be what you want to see in the community, y'all. I think our children are God. Y'all say that. Our children are God. That's right. And we have to be there to protect them. On behalf of Revolt Black News, I love you and thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Love you all.
Keeping the theme of financial literacy alive, next up, Ross Mack leads a conversation on how to generate wealth digitally through cryptocurrency, NFTs, and blockchain. Cash in, cash out. Ross Mack, Digital Cash, presented by State Farm.
Let's segue to something that I find very interesting. There's a new world coming. It's actually here, but it's a really real new world coming. And I just have a question for the panel. And better yet, we'll start with the audience. How many of you guys have actually heard of this new world coming called the metaverse? So to the panel, where do you guys see the metaverse going? And obviously, crypto, NFTs, blockchain, how do you see them living within the actual metaverse world?
The metaverse is for the kids. We're fucking adults. We're not gonna be on Oculus goggles saying hey to my friends, but don't be a dinosaur because they will stick your ass in a museum. Remember that. That's just, the metaverse is you going to places that you ain't capable of going at the time and seeing and trying to grasp a feeling for it. So we can actually see what Ghana doing. FYI, Africa is not poor. They rich as fuck.
Fuck yeah. Facts.
Stop using Africa as an example of being poor, please. Because I've been through Europe, third world. I've been through South America, there's some third world shit going on. Hell, I'm from Clayton County. I can take you to a third world project that a little fucked up. That we under lower class is called the 8%. That's the people we all should be in here talking about, people that actually need assistance, but I don't want to go off topic. But
no, so you said something crazy dope that I loved when as we started thinking about the metaverse and we started thinking about, you know, being a person getting left out, becoming a dinosaur.
Hey, what do metaverse stand for? Yo, real nigga shit, what do it stand for? I don't even know that.
It's another universe or alternative reality, but this is why it's important. For the child.
What you say? It's what?
It's an alternative reality.
So it's not reality?
It's not a real universe.
But could your subconscious decipher what's real and fake, or just take it all in?
It takes in all the data.
All right, I just wanted to ask.
And back to the point of 24 in the crash. This is going to be the dopamine that most people need when the market is really fucked up.
You're going to be able to visualize being somewhere else and being another person. But like you said, the metaverse is a game. The thing that's going to be really huge, the next 10 years, Web 3.0.
Yeah.
Every
the next
person
what?
in here,
The next who?
the biggest change in the world is
10 years? Man, that shit right here.
But over the next 10 years, is like, imagine if we can go back to 2004.
True.
And say, hey, I got a thing called Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, Tinder, Bumble. And you're like, I'm not fucking dating nobody online. And half of y'all in here swiping like crazy to find your bae. Web 3.0 is going to be 100 times bigger than Web 2.0.
Them chat rooms was a motherfucker, nigga.
So everything that, if you think the internet is big now, it would be 100 times bigger than what we are now, and put I'm telling you, every spare moment that you have learning how to master Web 3.0 and what your value is going to be in it. If not, you're going to be left behind, because when the next 2 crashes come, the government is going to say, hey, we gave ample opportunity. You could have invested in Bitcoin. You could have invested in Ethereum. You could have invested in NFTs. We can't print money forever.
Facts.
Ross, real quick, there's all of this is about technology and engineering, and there is a myth that, we just don't have our own engineers. And I definitely just have to point out someone in our audience, Devonia Evans, who created an engineer.
Kudos to the queen.
Woman engineer.
Yes.
Who created Guapcoin. And, I thought it was really important for me. I go to where somebody's already done it. So, I reached out to her and we talked, and now she's going to be on our advisory board of Vibranium. So it's about how do we collectively build all of, our knowledge and experience.
Literacy.
But engineering, and she knows a lot about the metaverse, virtual reality, augmented reality. So we have to really look at these engineers, support them, and, and they can tell us a lot about what's coming.
Ian said something that was so dope. If you could go back in time, 2004, and more importantly, invest in Facebook, invest in YouTube, Apple, Amazon, etc., you'll be 1,000% return up right now, right? Money's quadruple, backflips, all that, right? What we're talking about right now is the future, and the way you get invested in it right now is getting out of your own logic of thinking. Because when he said, Web 2.0, I'm not dating nobody online, bro. I'm gonna go to the club and meet a girl. I'm meeting this person in school. I'm not, that's creepy, right? Now everybody's doing it. The next thing we're talking about with this metaverse, I want you to understand is, you're gonna go to the metaverse, you're gonna be able to own NFTs, your own digital art, and guess what? It's gonna be able to be hung in a digital museum. Nike, they're filing patents, so now your new person, your avatar in the metaverse can have on the new Nike J's.
Crypto and NFTs is like fucking revenge of the nerds. So if you want to call motherfuckers nerds, look who saved us. The kid that you called weird in school, the guy that played with cartoons, the man in the office that you walked by, shitted on, and went to your boss that was on the computer. He actually running the hallway behind this motherfucker while we all got a job. Now they're the rich guys.
Facts.
This is why people getting exposed, because these guys know who fucking lying. They on the back end. And that's called literacy. And I'm gonna get a special word. The money is in DeFi. That's a nugget.
DeFi is real.
I'm just gonna say that. Fuck it, because I ain't no person that holds secrets. I want everybody to have an equal opportunity. But it's gonna show who actually want it the most. This game right here is how bad you want it. You need guys like this because he will enlighten you on people like that. And people like me got a platform to pull her up and get the fuck out the seat because she's the professional. We talking about science and I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
We talking about banking and I'm not a banker. We need to now push these people in the seats and us just be performers and not conformers.
And the reason these digital assets are so key is because the world is going to slowly erode. I'm not here to scare you, but I'm going to be real with you. All these investment opportunities will not be available if the world was not going to be fucked up really bad in 3 or 4 years. You have to realize this is like the housing crash across every market at one time, and they're going to say, I told you you could have got in. He told you. And when you notice everyone that's huge Zuckerberg made a huge change, Gary Vee. You're seeing people that have had hundreds of millions or billions switch over. There's a reason why, because they see the calm before the storm. I'm begging you.
Afford it.
Please learn everything that you can about the space.
Shout out Ian. He always got the crystal ball. So Ian, I want to, shout out my dog Ian, man.
Yeah, that nigga smart, boy. That nigga go wild.
Because what he's saying is the writing's on the wall. And when the writing's on the wall, when you saw all the investment banks, right, all of Wall Street, after years and years of saying Bitcoin was BS, they ended up starting to invest in it, right? Now you see Facebook change their name to Meta. You're seeing Jack Dorsey and Jay-Z buying up Bitcoin. But this is years and years in the making. But, you know, for the interest of time, I want to ask a question to end, and I want you to really leave the audience with some big gems, and that is, how do you get 2,600% returns?
It's a combination of things. Most important, you have to look to hold for the long term. Everybody tries to con you into thinking long term isn't the way. I'll give $100 to anybody in here. Can you tell me what the all-time return of Microsoft is? You would think it's something low.
You know?
More, 500,000. But I'll still cash app you. Tesla, up 20,000% in a 10-year period. So number one, long-term invest first. Two, you have to have some exposure to crypto. And then three, a market that most people don't know about is the futures market. So every day on CNBC, before the market opens, the futures market tells you what is gonna happen. It literally predicts the price ahead of time. So when you combine those three together, that's how you'll be able to get the gains you want to. And then on top of that, please realize the reason why Bitcoin has gotten so popular in part is Mark Zuckerberg's fuck up. If he wouldn't have stolen the idea from the Winklevoss twins, they wouldn't have had to push to make Bitcoin popular on an institutional level. It's a game inside of a game. So if you take my idea, I'm gonna have to get revenge. Now, you haven't seen the Winklevoss twins talk that much because now they have victory. They made him adjust his entire model, and as a result, the entire space of crypto has been a hedge to push him out of business. It's a dirty game.
Big time.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like that.
State Farm is committed to being good neighbors and building stronger neighborhoods together with the Atlanta Hawks. State Farm and the Hawks are impacting communities across Metro Atlanta through building good neighbor clubs, renovating basketball courts, helping to reduce food insecurity, and more.
Next up, 2 Chainz leads a conversation with 2 of his counterparts and the Revolt Summit culture curators, Killer Mike and Offset, around the importance of mobilizing and using your voice to affect real change in For the Love of the A.
Let me introduce our panelists. First off, my brother, a real force in our community, a business owner, an activist. You know what I'm saying? He has a strong voice in our community. And he also got bars and a great barbershop franchise going on. So make sure you listen to the Run the Jewels album and give it up for my brother, Killer Mike. My brother. All right, next up, we got a Grammy nominated, you know what I mean, multi-platinum award winning, a global superstar. He done added philanthropist on here, and he definitely a fashion icon. Give it up for my player partner, Offset. All right, don't play. Yeah, don't play with you ever.
Yeah, what's happening?
Yes. So we're gonna touch on a few things today. There's a phrase, Atlanta influences everything, and I'd like each of you to speak on that, what that means to you, starting with you, Killer Mike. Mike is somebody that I've been friends with for a long time, someone that's just been a traditional Atlanta West Side player since the time I met him. He always spoke his mind, he always been solid, and I would just like to hear from you what Atlanta influences everything, what that means to you, Mike.
Man, I think when I hear Atlanta influences everything, if you listen to the radio anywhere in the world, they sounded like 2 Chainz or the Migos, you know? If you looking at black finance and culture, you're talking about 120 years of successful business and employment in this city. If you're talking about if you're talking about owning an airline, the first black airline was an airline out of Atlanta, made by a black man. So this city, for black people, even at its worst, has been an opportunity zone and been a place where education can be had, where a black kid can grow up in an all-black neighborhood like the Collier Heights, where black kids can come from a place like Gwinnett County that traditionally was not a black county and turn that county into an epicenter. A black kid can come from the South Side, get a basketball scholarship, grow on to become a rapper and entrepreneur. It's just opportunity for me. So when I think about Atlanta, I think about my grandfather moving here in 1942, my grandmother moving here in 1950, and making their way and opening up opportunity. I think about people like Alonzo Herndon and Herman Russell. I just think it's an opportunity place for black people.
Hold on, I appreciate that. Hey, Mike, let me ask you something. Our city has a rich tradition of civil rights space that's been intertwined with community efforts, specifically from the black church. For young people who may not have an idea what that means, to be a community leader or activist, how do you present that to them so it won't make them seem like they square or they lame or something?
Man, you gotta know that, you know, along with civil rights, Atlanta has been an epicenter of civil rights. It's been an epicenter of black fashion, rock and roll. You know, when you start talking about people coming through the Royal Peacock, this is where your grandparents was partying. This is where James Brown came. This is where Little Richard came. When you start talking about fighting for our rights, Dr. King, SCLC. But I just want young people to know what matters to the world in terms of cool is not your concern. If you keep your mindset local and you know you're doing right by your city, your county, your side, then it'll eventually become cool. What matters is that you're cool with yourself in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you look at yourself in the morning and like what you see? Are you learning to fall in love with yourself more and more every day? Because long after whatever was cool isn't cool anymore, you still gotta be cool and in love with that person. Before the world ever acknowledged the Migos flow, 3 little boys was confident that they could kill shit. Before the world was ever confident that Titty Boy could become 2 Chainz, 2 Chainz knew what he was gonna do, and he convinced the world to carry a duffel bag. So for me, if you look in that mirror and you know you cool, it's cool. So organizing is cool. Cleaning up your own community is cool. Owning your own business and employing black people is cool. Getting your ass out and voting in this mayoral race is cool. So make sure that after the end of cool, you still cool with the person you see every morning in the mirror.
All right. That's what I want to hear. And I want y'all to listen to some of that too. Being cool starts with yourself, man. You can't let a like or somebody else's judgment depict how you gonna move around. All right, my little bro over here, being a part of the next generation, you know I love y'all, for real now.
No, I love you too.
What have you seen from someone like Mike, Tip, Luda, JD, that had an impact that you could emulate or evolve, whether that was in the community or in business, or even related to your career? Anybody that came before you from those realms that you know what I mean?
The first post I looked at was Outkast. You know, Outkast came through in a time where they weren't giving us our props down south. You feel what I'm saying? It was like East Coast, LA, New York, you know what I mean? But we came through. I remember at that awards, I was a young one, but I seen them tell them like the South had something to say, you feel me? And now if you look at music, we run it. And like, so looking at Luda, you know, he channeled, like in his visuals or his videos, he wasn't scared to like go to a different place, you know what I mean? Like all his visuals was creative. And if you look at the game right now, a lot of artists right now like dressing up, especially like my boy DaBaby, they might put the muscles on in the music video. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So my generation we was led by the greats. I ain't look at nobody else. I look at Master P, I look at you, I look at Tip. I ain't really look at like anybody from nowhere else. I feel like I ain't really relate to them, you feel what I'm saying? And then when we came in the game, we just wanted to be on some different vibe, like come with a different flow. You know, we came from the North. There wasn't really no recognition that way. There wasn't even no studios over there, you feel what I'm saying? So we had to bring our flavor to the city, and the city accepted it, and then it was on.
All right. Mike, really, and Offset, I want you to talk to me about this financial wave we got, that we're trying to create, you know what I mean? We got crypto, we got NFTs, we got all kind of digital space. What do you feel about the financial wave that we're in right now? We're in the middle of, like, it feels like a transition. It feels like the beginning of Wi-Fi or something, you know what I mean? Every day is something new, every day is some more information. Just where y'all heads at with that right now?
For our city personally, it's a lot of money in the city, like in Atlanta, where, you know what I'm saying? When I'm going to the mall, I see a lot of Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and Mercedes Benzes. We living good, and it's black folks. So we different from, like, when I go to LA, it ain't really our people. So I like, at home, like, I know the owners of the clubs. They my homeboys, and they're black men, you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of good real estate out here. Go ahead, Mike.
For me, man, I spent a lot of time on underground, so I was broke a long time.
Yeah.
So when I got some money, you know, I did what my grandfather said do. He said, buy land, because they not making no more of it.
They ain't make no more.
I was smoking a joint, reading some Mark Twain yesterday, and he said the same thing, and my grandfather couldn't read. So I said, shit, if a man who could write and a man who couldn't read agreed on it, it must make sense. If you look at the neighborhood we sitting in 10 or 12 years ago, you could buy houses in this neighborhood for pennies on a dollar. If you look at this same neighborhood now, houses are going for in excess of $750,000 and better. You know, you have the ability in a place like Atlanta, Birmingham, Jacksonville, Tampa, Charlotte, to be a young black person, to acquire some land and to develop that land. I can say, you know, the smartest decision I ever made, you know, I married a girl from the housing projects in Savannah, and she was set on getting some money. Like, all that rap shit was cool, all that singing and dancing, she wanted me to do it. But time we start getting an abundance, she was like, what are we gonna pivot this money into to make sure you can do that, you can take care of these 4 children we have, and we can not suffer. So when I didn't know much about NFTs, I didn't know much about Bitcoin, things of that nature, and I have a friend who used to work at Louis Vuitton. He actually is like the white guy that helped invent streaming. And he said the exact same thing you just said. I talked to him yesterday, we talked for an hour, his name is Ian. So I'm smoking, I'm like, Ian, I'm totally ignorant to this shit. I don't know what any of this stuff means. And he says, the best thing I can tell you right now is, I can't tell you that you're gonna get rich from the gold and the gold rush, but the people who really got rich during the gold rush were the people who sold tools, the people who sold Levi's denim, because you know you had to work in something, and the people who had stores that gave supplies. So even if you don't get rich off Bitcoin, I realize that if you find your way in that space, and for me, it's Greenwood Bank. For me, digital banking is one of the things that I think my community needs, because banks are pulling out of my community. And if your bank is right in your hand, it gives us a fair opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to save money, gives you an opportunity to build credit, gives you an opportunity to start to acquire land and acquire wealth. And then you like Offset friends. Even if you're not the guy that's singing and dancing on stage, you're the club owner, not just a club promoter. Even if you don't get rich off Bitcoin, I realize that if you find your way in that space, and for me, it's Greenwood Bank. For me, digital banking is one of the things that I think my community needs, because banks are pulling out of my community. And if your bank is right in your hand, it gives us a fair opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to save money, gives you an opportunity to build credit, gives you an opportunity to start to acquire land and acquire wealth. And then you like Offset friends. Even if you're not the guy that's singing and dancing on stage, you're the club owner, not just a club promoter. When we go to clubs in New York, they'll be playing our songs in the club and telling us it's a dress code. We can't get in there. The owner don't look like us. The security don't look like us. Right. The waitresses don't look like us. We have a grand opportunity in Atlanta. Even if you're not from Atlanta, you can actually buy land here. You can get permits and you can open up businesses here. You can actually prosper here. And I would encourage us to do the same thing through the South and start to investigate things like NFTs, start to investigate blockchain, and let's get on this stuff early, just like we got on stuff like, you know, singing and dancing, just like we mastered the Chitlin circuit. I think as a community, if we master money, it'll give us greater leverage in things like politics and beyond.
I would like to take the time out to give one of my, I like to call him my brother, one of my partners. His name is Sherrod. He used to be my cameraman. He actually owns this shit that we're in right now. He owns this whole area right here. And I be calling, you know, my acronym is the Real U, or the Real University. And I used to like, cause I went to college. I ain't never drop out of school. I ain't never thought that was cool. I made A's and B's. I was most popular. I was best dressed. All the cheerleaders loved me. I went to school every day. Yeah, so one of the things I feel like if you're around me, man, I just like to, man, give out information, spread game, and my man doing so good. Last time I was here, you know, no disrespect, man, a white guy owned this space, man, you know, and then we got a young brother own this space and collabing with Revolt, so I want to give him his flowers while he can smell them. All right. And he bought this shit before I could buy it, little sneaky motherfucker. He told me, like, I gotta get it before Chainz get it. All right, so Offset, player partner. All right, you know, y'all really put the North on the map. I mean, I'm from the South Side. We always used to say West Side, East Side. We used to skip y'all. I cannot.
Can't forget the North now.
Yeah. But when y'all, look, y'all made people like, you know what I'm saying? Even the spelling, you know what I'm saying? It just made it cool, you know what I mean? NAWF, North.
Yeah.
We love that. So tell us a little bit where you grew up from. What did you learn from your hood? When you got older and really connected to the city, when did you start to realize the importance of like where you came from and representing the North?
Well, where I came from, first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? We like to look good. Okay. So that's why I always look good. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if you ain't have it, you still look good, you know what I'm saying? That was the #1 rule. So I always, when I was starting to rap, I'm like, man, I gotta always look good.
Yeah.
To catch somebody out, you feel what I'm saying? Then coming up over there, we ain't get no props, like you said, so it wasn't no recognition. It was like, you felt like you just always overlook or felt like somebody could try that area because it was a suburban area at the time. But come to the North, you see, it's a Pleasant Hill, it's a club drive where it's a lot of Spanish folks and a lot of black folks that ain't got his apartment out and see, people always just look down like, oh, that ain't count. So when we were coming up, we were like, these folks gonna respect our pimping, but they gonna respect our game, they gonna respect our music, our craft. You see what I'm saying? Because everywhere, the same thing going on everywhere in the world. I don't care where you at. Ain't nobody, it ain't even about that. The mission is to put your art up and let the world see it and show the art and show that you could do it. And like the North ain't even had no studio, so we used to have to nail a mic to the closet and put a sock on the mic, and we had a program called Mixcraft where it's a group, so you couldn't stop the recording. So when we record, if one person mess up, we got to do the song over. So we learned like the Beatles and Michael Jackson, we learned how to record that way because we ain't had no studio, so you got one take. If one person mess up, you got to run to the mic and do the chorus. If you on the chorus, after the next verse, you got to do the chorus again. And sometimes it ain't sound right, but we had to do it that way. And we use Movie Maker to make our videos from a phone, you see what I'm saying? And then we'll go to the other sides of town, like we'll go to the east side, go to Obsessions, we'll go to Manchester Line, you know what I'm saying? We'll go to the Flame, get our music spent, but we always got close with the DJs, so we'll spend our money with the DJs and be like, spend us. We know we don't know you, when you don't know us, but here goes some money, here go $40, spend this song. And then Obsession started eventually letting us perform, but we had to buy a bottle. So we'd put our money together to get $300 to get the bottle. So then we start performing, and then we start seeing the crowd rocking with it. Then we found a way, you know what I'm saying, to make us some money, you know, how we had to do it. You feel me?
What y'all were doing, Offset?
Nah. We had to make a way.
You had to make a way. It been 7 years. You might can say it, but you know, you the Migo that didn't nobody. You were missing the first little. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember it was two Migos because he was locked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was locked up.
That's what I remember anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for real.
Yeah, he was the bad one. Go ahead.
God is good though. God is the greatest. Let me say that. God is good. But,
and shout out to your new baby too. I want y'all
to appreciate that.
He got another one. Father of 5. Father of 5, right?
Father of 5, yeah. It's 5 on.
Boy, that's deep. Boy, you going in. I got something for you in the back. Now you don't need to know you're married now, but
it's over with.
But go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you off.
But yeah, like, you know, it was just for us. It was like for all the kids that ain't really got no hope and you ain't really got them resources, you know, you got to make a way. Ain't nobody going to give it to you It ain't gonna happen. Your mama can't give it to you, your homeboy can't give it to you, but your homeboy can give you that drive and that support to get to that next level. And that's what all I had. Like, all my friends in this front row, I've been with them since you could look at my 8th grade pictures, you know what I'm saying? Because they was the ones that was, man, it's hard, we need to do this, while everybody else was laughing and saying the idea wasn't nothing, but it came to pass, and just got to keep pushing forward. You know, we young, so we got the wave for real. It's really, the time you in right now is your world. It ain't like, we ain't got the struggles like the OGs had, and like, it's better for us, so you got to take advantage of that. And so we did that, and look at God, I'm right here.
I guess, Mike, tell us a little bit about that West Side, you know?
Well, the West Side, I grew up in a neighborhood called the Cari Heights in Adamsville community. My neighborhood was started in 1946. It was started by black people, for black people, because the black people that started my neighborhood, they didn't feel pressed to live next to white folk. They'll go work with white folks, and after work say, have a nice day, go to your neighborhood, and we're gonna go to ours. And that neighborhood had people that were working class like my grandparents. It had very rich black people like Dr. Blasingame, Dr. Yancey, my Mr. Herman Russell, Dr. King's parents, Ralph David Abernathy lived there. Keisha Lance Bottoms lived there, Jasmine Guy. But because we're not gonna boo no black woman in this room because nobody would boo your black ass. What we're gonna do though is say I can disagree with you, but we can still be in solidarity that this black city needs to stay black ran. I don't see, because growing up in the Collier Heights, I grew up with black Democrats, black Republicans, black liberals, black conservatives. And what I learned was no matter what I identified myself as, I had to put my individual freedoms first, and I had to help my neighbor. No matter what I thought of my neighbor's politics or religion, because I grew up with black Muslims, black Catholics, black Protestants, but it was black people. I went to all black schools. I didn't have no inferiority complexes. I had confidence. I knew I was competent. And the West Side puts out proud Negroes. Just to be frank with you, I'm not ashamed to be from where I'm from. I'm not ashamed to have went to Frederick Douglass High School, then went to Morehouse College. I don't think I should have had it better or went anywhere else. I love Atlanta. I love Atlanta's West Side because whether you're talking about Simpson Road, Bowen Homes, Dixie Hills, they have produced some great black people. And these people have created an ecosystem in Atlanta that involves all people. It ain't just black. If you didn't have a strong black community on the West Side, you wouldn't have had black people that was competent to move and populate the South Side. Then you wouldn't have had confidence to people that moved on the East Side. The West Side is the funnel that black Atlanta grew out of. My grandmother moved there in 1950. My sister still live there now, and I'm proud to say my wife and I own over $2 million in real estate there. I am a product of black pride. My grandparents were proud to be black people. They were proud to live in the Collier Heights. They were proud to live in the West Side.
AI is responsible for changing the image of what an NBA player looked like. He was his truest self on and off the court. To close out the summit, Taylor Rooks holds a long-awaited conversation with the one, the only, the answer, Allen Iverson, about mental health and the pressure of not folding to be what society desires, no matter the cost. This is Mental Wins.
This conversation is really important for every single person because it's something that every single person deals with. We are going to talk about mental health. Whatever game you're in, whether you wear a jersey, khakis, a uniform, your own brand, it is more than just the skills that you bring to that game. It is also about the mental approach. That's what can account for the difference in a day or even in a moment. But that processing does not come without cost. I have interviewed so many athletes in my career, and what I can tell you is the difference between the good ones and the great ones is those that know how to balance that mental aspect of the game. So we're here today to talk about that process, the recovery, how to tap back in, and even know when it's time to tap back out. So it's gonna be a really, really enlightening conversation for you guys today. And I'm very excited to introduce a legend, a phenomenal person, a Hall of Famer. Coming out to the stage is Mr. Allen Iverson. In the flesh. What is up, AI? So good to see you again. I've been excited for this for so long, just because you, as we all know, he is one of the realest to ever be on the court. And it's not just on the court, your conversations are the realest too. So I just want to start really by asking, in your playing days, could you have ever envisioned being on a stage talking about something like mental health?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. But in that profession, it's very important. Well, any profession, and life period, is important.
Yeah. When did you realize the importance of mental health?
Just, I think probably in every aspect of my life, but more so, you know, being in the profession I was in, and the expectations of, you know, being the #1 pick, being the guy with the franchise on his back, and just with the basically being scrutinized and being judged, you know what I mean? So it started early, you know, because I was always, you know, in sports, I was always that guy, you know, and I was always the guy that everybody pointed the finger at. So I had to deal with it, and I was well prepared, you know, being from where I come from. I was prepared for all the challenges.
Yeah. So, I mean, #1 pick, expectations, so many different things, you know, went into your NBA career. When it was done, do you feel like you were more exhausted physically or mentally?
Mentally.
Mentally, okay.
And I was I was beat up too. You know what I mean? But mentally, just like I said, with the expectations, just every time I came out of the house, especially in Philadelphia, it was always an uproar. It was rare that I could have any time to myself in the public. It was rocky at times, but I just, you know, believed in my faith. I felt like I was in a space that I wanted to be in my life, and my dreams had came true, and I was not gonna let anything on the outside distract me from doing what I wanted to do career-wise.
But I mean, what is it like kind of battling with knowing, okay, everything that you wanted to happen in your life happens, but then there's these expectations, there's all this noise, and there's things that, in essence, kind of weigh you down, and you're trying to balance all of that at once?
I think it's when you kind of try to be perfect, you know what I mean? And scared to make mistakes, you know? And my whole thing was, you're gonna turn it over, and you're gonna miss shots. But obviously you can't make a play if you're thinking about a turnover, and you'll never be able to make a shot if you don't take it. You know what I mean? So I just try not to be hard on myself when I had, you know, other people criticize me and the critics out there doing it. So I didn't want to do it to myself and add more weight on it.
Yeah. So you're gonna turn it over, you're gonna miss shots. I feel like that is a motto for all walks of life. There's gonna be some trips, you're gonna fail, but you learn from those and you get better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't want a perfect life at all. You know what I mean? There's no such thing. You know what I'm saying? I failed plenty of times, but I get back up. You know what I mean? And that's on and off the court.
Mm-hmm. So one thing about mental health, you know, something that is always, I think, brought up is about loving yourself, right? And self-love and this journey to that. Did you have to have a journey to loving yourself?
No, I've always been comfortable in my own skin. I understand that I'm human, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just try not to make them twice. And I love being myself, you know what I mean? Why not? Everybody else taking up, you know what I mean? So what's wrong with you? You know, what's wrong with who you are and who God created? You know what I mean? I think that's kind of a disrespect to him, you know, wanting to be somebody else. You know, you might want to get to the same level as someone as far as going to the NBA or something, but I want to make my mark as Allen Iverson. I want to, you know, people to say, you know, the next guy, you know, I don't want to be the next, you know, Michael Jordan or the next Magic Johnson. I want to be the only Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. And I think for somebody like you, I just wonder how often you really are able to sit back and see the impact that you've had on not just players, But everybody, like, you know, we hear these things a lot, but the soaking it in is not something, you know, I don't know if you've really soaked it in. Have you?
Ask the question again.
Have you soaked that in, the impact that
I mean,
you've had?
it's like it's an honor. You know what I mean? It's an honor, and it's I think it's love that people from all walks of life, you know, respect me and respect, you know, what I've done in my life and in my career, my trials and tribulations, my ups and my downs. And, you know, just to be able to get off the plane in any country in the world and you recognize, and just to have so many loyal fans, you know what I mean? It's a blessing, man. It's really, truly a blessing how people treat me and tell me about how I impacted their lives, you know, on whatever level, you know what I mean? And I'm not just talking about basketball players, you know, I'm talking about everyday working people. You know what I mean? And it's just a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And without my fans, I mean, there's no Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your fans are everything. And then when I see the response that they have for me, it makes me feel good about the way I was raised, make me feel good about, you know, obviously my mom and my dad, but all of the family members, the friends that helped me along the way, because you don't get here by yourself. You know what I mean? So many other people help you, whether it's your fans, your parents, your homeboys, your homegirls, everybody, you know what I mean? And that's why when I made my Hall of Fame speech, you know, I really felt like telling them now they were Hall of Famers. All of those people that supported me throughout the years, they became Hall of Famers that day.
I mean, one of the best Hall of Fame speeches, I assume most people in here have seen his Hall of Fame speech. It was amazing, and right? It was just incredibly emotional, and
yeah, except for the crying.
Yeah, there was definitely some
I'm
crying.
an emotional dude. Like I talk about people that I love, and you know, I really appreciate the people that love me back. And I'm not talking about AI. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, you know, Chuck from Hampton Newport News that really love who I am. You know what I mean? Before all of this.
Yeah.
You know, I just love and respect those people for helping me. And my whole thing was, you know, I would never look in the mirror and see somebody that they didn't know and recognize. You know what I mean? I always wanted to stay grounded and stay true to all of the people that stayed true to me on my journey.
So when you were talking about how you brought them up in the speech and you just joked about how you were crying in the speech, have you always felt comfortable being emotional and crying?
I'm a man, everything about me. I'm a man all the way through, from top to bottom. I'm a man. So I don't have no problem with the way I feel. I hurt just like anybody else. I cry just like anybody else. I want to live, laugh, and love every day. You know what I mean? I love, you know, me and my guys talk all day and, you know, being us, making each other laugh. Like, I'm just like everybody else here. I think I'm probably the most approachable celebrity there is. And I want to be like that. I love that about me. I love that people feel like that I am just like them and I am approachable, because I am.
It's important that we own the narrative, and we do that by empowering the next generations.
For better or for worse, hip hop is going to be the only thing that these kids are going to listen to. And when I say listen to, I don't just mean in terms of music and sonically. I mean in terms of messaging, in terms of direction, fashion, culture, all of this.
And it's very difficult to think that we embody so much with something that controls so much of our existence, and we make the least off of it.
I think it's going to a place where the artists about to get ownership of the music they actually make and create. But this was worth way more than that.
So now it's just about, I think the solidarity is the thing moving forward that's going to start to get us a little bit closer to identifying with the value that is us.
And I want to talk about the resiliency of Black women. Yes. Can we just talk about that?
Their history, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
And nobody understands us but us.
Success in this business alone
is a pipe dream for a lot of us.
I mean, look, this isn't easy. If you really want it and you really want to go to like the highest peaks, it's probably the hardest thing you ever do in your life.
You better know your worth. You better know your worth.
Just more so like the fact that those who are historical entertainers are now stepping into the space of educators.
I personally think that black children are God, actually gods.
There are women that say they support other women, but they're not kind to other women.
We can be so much better, just be better. For me, it was like, be better for yourself. Like, how better can you be?
Hip hop is synonymous with culture. Hip hop was the clothes that I wore, the shoes that I wore, the language that I taught.
I'm self-inspired, you hear me? Being able to wake up and do whatever you want to do is an inspiration to other people.
I know everybody's all connected now with the internet and social media, so there's no reason why we shouldn't give this experience to everybody that looks like us all over the world.
I know that if you just keep with it and stay consistent, there's nobody that can stop it. A lot of people say, you know, how long is hip hop gonna last? Hip hop's gonna last forever.
Hip hop, we owe it all to you. You've carried us through the highs and lows of our lives. That's why we celebrate you, hip hop. Through tragedies in our community to unifying the world. Hip hop, you are the pulse of the culture. Thank you to our amazing partners, artists, influencers, crew, staff, and most of all, our audience. We love you, Revolt Nation. Thank you for tuning in to the 2021 Revolt Summit, presented by AT&T. Remember, always dream in Black.